Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Parts Talk. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, quite recently, the EV industry has been facing a troubling trend. EVs are losing value more rapidly than their gasoline powered counterparts, and it comes at no surprise. And while this phenomenon has raised questions about the role of government mandates and the interference in the auto market, while the push for EVs initially seemed like a step towards a greener future, the unintended consequences have been profound. Well, as predicted by yours truly and so many others in this space. Firstly, government mandate came with stringent regulations and deadlines that put pressure on the automakers to meet targets, and it came at the expense of market readiness. This rush to comply led to subpar EV models hitting the market, or in particularly Chinese EV makers, along with the help of the Chinese government, took the lead. Namely, we have BYD, NIO, Wuling, as a matter of fact, Geely, Xpeng, among others, resulting in lower consumer confidence and diminished resale value. Moreover, government subsidies and incentives aimed at promoting EV adoption helped to distort the market. But before we get into this next feature of video here from NBC, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Let's get into this.
Everyone knows the minute you drive a new car off the lot, its value depreciates. But for electric vehicles, the drop is dramatic, 10 times faster than traditional cars, according to a recent study showing the average used car price for an EV fell nearly 32% in the past year, compared with a decline of just over 3% for gas-powered cars.
Right now, I am trying to offload my Tesla. I want to sell it because the value for Teslas has been plummeting.
Some Tesla owners frustrated as the company lowers the prices on new models, making currently owned Teslas less valuable.
This investment, I will lose over $30,000.
Falling resale prices just another factor holding some people back from switching over to electric vehicles, with so many already expressing concern about range anxiety and battery infrastructure.
If I want to make it from here to my grandmother's house in Texas, how many stops possibly would I have to make to get there?
Keith Bozeman has been selling used cars for 4 years. Resale value is not their number one concern.
No, not at all. Honestly, no. That's not the number one question that I get. It's honestly the battery life.
For the first quarter of the year, EVs made up just 7.3% of new car sales, even with government rebates and dealer incentives.
There's so much discounting going on. It's really hammering used cars, especially those used EVs. So we kind of have this double down effect where a lot of that's pushing those used car values down.
The irony that lower prices for new cars could hurt demand for EVs overall, as resale values are driven down. Christine Romans, NBC News, Jersey City, New Jersey.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
He made a very good point, which he got hammered in the comments, that an electric vehicle is not an investment. Cars are an investment if you look at it from a pragmatic standpoint. You invest in transportation to get you to where you want to go faster without relying on public transportation, and also you invest in it especially if you have family to move around. And an electric vehicle may come in handy because there are people who already invested in an electric vehicle and they're loving it, but majority of people will not benefit from having an electric vehicle. And we're seeing here in Canada where billions from the overburdened, overtaxed citizen will subsidize EV plants without seeing any returns, maybe until another 15 years. So our children and our children's children may have to be repaying all that money that was taken out of our pockets. And the consequences of these factors are evident in the recent layoffs within the electric vehicle industry. They spoke about the used car market. Hertz is also contributing to that, because electric vehicles, the value of them are going down. To me, they were overpriced from the beginning. And ultimately, the fall in sales is affecting the EV market again, with a number of people losing their jobs. Tesla is going for the record with over 15,000 people facing the axe. And Tesla was doing quite fine until the government opened up the market like a can opener get into a can of beans. And no doubt, Norway boosted Tesla's sales and the super profits Tesla realized after 17 years years of struggling to get to where they are, only to be gone within the last 2 years after the announcement of the EV mandate here in the West.
How dare you?
But China said, hold my beer. China employed the very same strategy as the governments here in the West did, not knowing and realizing that rare earth minerals and mining were needed to get these cars up and running and ready. So as sales failed to meet expectations, the market conditions became increasingly volatile. Companies are forced to downsize or shut their doors and their workforce to cut their costs and stay afloat. This cycle of layoffs further erodes consumer confidence and perpetuates the decline in EV sales. Let's take a look at this next feature.
Notice the impersonal language used in the email. This company is worth $578 billion. As of April, they employed 140,000 people, yet they cannot figure out how to write an email. This is better than a child's notice writing homework. Former employees are shocked. Many are taking to social media and sharing how their association with Tesla was snapped with a single mail. But the thing is, it's not just about the termination. People saw this coming. Teams were slimming down week after week. People knew that they could get axed. What stands out here is the egregious way in which Tesla is laying off its employees. Workers had their logins frozen. So termination letters were sent over personal emails. Many found out that they were fired only after security did not let them enter the office building. It can be traumatic.
Again, welcome to the new age. Because I've gone through at least 3 to 4 different redundancy exercises. And even my last encounter, when I resigned from the last dealership, I was given an exit interview as to why I was leaving, because they regarded my performance as valid and needed at the company. But I saw what was coming and said, you know what, enough is enough. It's time for me to move on to something else. And before that, at a previous company, when things were not going as according to their plan, it's not in the sense that my performance was bad. It was a sense that they no longer wanted me around, and they tried to do everything else in order to justify the reason why, you know, I had to go and some other people had to go. When it comes down to everything else, it's always profits over people. I'm not saying that Tesla is right. When you're dealing with a company of this vast magnitude, then they're going to be doing things that is going to be seen as out of pocket, because the sensitivity and the human touch is no longer there. Technology has taken over, and because they're moving so fast and the profits are dwindling, then they want to justify where they're taking this. Stellantis have done it, Ford has done it, General Motors have done it, plus Lordstone and so many other EV startups have done it as well. This is nothing new under the sun, and there are more to come. Let's finish up this point.
But it's also part of a growing trend. We are only 4 months into 2024. Reports say more than 600,000 employees have been fired globally. Mass layoffs have become the new normal. What's unusual is how they're happening. This year, EdTech company Byju's fired 500 employees over phone calls and emails. Last year, Google's parent company Alphabet laid off around 12,000 people. Many who worked for the company for decades got the news in their inboxes. The year before that, Meta fired nearly 11,000 employees. For many, again, it happened over email. And this is happening across industries. People are being laid off online.
Exactly. And here lies your point. So why are you attacking Tesla because they did and they're following the current trend that is there? You've answered your very own question. This is the trend that is happening right now. And then people are going to take to social media because they have to voice their opinion. And social media actually gives us that. Well, I'm voicing my opinion here, right here and then. But as it goes, this is going to be the new norm. Welcome to the new age.
But the sting is real and personal. Companies claim that this is the only efficient way to fire a lot of people at once. Informing workers personally is too risky and complicated. They say employees can access internal systems and go on a sabotage spree. Or it could be difficult to coordinate multiple terminations, but both the reasons seem hollow. Legally, companies have recourse if employees sabotage them. Plus, these workers need to find jobs again. Will they really go around behaving criminally? As for the complications, managers interact with their teams daily. Why does that suddenly become impossible when it is time to lay them off? No matter the explanation, firing people over emails is an unnecessary and cruel act, kind of like breaking up over text. Completely avoiding human contact. It serves only one purpose. It lets managers off the hook. They don't have to face the shock. They don't need to console anyone. They don't even have to get criticized. It's all very convenient, but sometimes it can backfire. It can endanger a company's own interests and reputation because word spreads fast. Future hiring prospects read workplace reviews. Some workers publicly post about getting fired, plus they notice the irony.
Well, because of TikTok and social media, I'm going to leave the link to this video in the description box below. Not every idea is progress. The government was trying to steer us into this environmental savior regiment, and there's no free lunches in nature. You're not allowed to do all this and not expect pushback or something to come out of this that you do not want and does not benefit society. People who read and analyze what's going on around them will push back. For example, Ford wants to patent a system that will let cars repossess themselves if drivers miss payments. At first, the cars will lose the use of features like GPS, air conditioning, and the radio. If the owner still skips a payment, the car will lock them out and drive itself to a repo agency or even a scrapyard. People saw this coming and they were scared. A more balanced approach that fosters innovation, incentivizes investment and infrastructure, and promote consumer education is essential for the long-term success of the car industry. EVs would have become the mainstream. Customers would have eventually switched over, but not by force. Just take a look at our current welfare system. Women choosing the government incentives over having the child's father in the home made society worse, not better. But that's for another platform. As usual, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to grab a copy of my ebook, The Parts Manager Guide. Please smash that like button on your way out. It will only take you 1.5 seconds to do so. Until next time.